Well, I think you can hear me better now that I got a wireless mic. It's about time. Anyway, want to talk about a few more things. I think I'd like to talk about a few of the people, celebrities I've met over the years. Let's see. I want to say that I'm going to start with. I was just thinking about this recently, but I mean, it's like Jason Alexander. After he did the Seinfeld show, he started doing other things. He started, appearing like in shows and stuff on stage and everything. And I actually saw him at the Comedy and Magic Club. I saw him actually on stage at the Hollywood Bowl. He was like the MC or something for some show. And then I actually saw him at the, not the Comedy Magic Club. It's like what was it? The Magic Castle. And actually, it's like he was there, and he was there for he was a member, and it's like I walked out. It's like when I was walking out the park, he was just ahead of me by himself, and I was kind of surprised how short he was. It's like he was shorter than I thought. Very funny man, really very talented and very funny man, and so that was nice to meet him, and very friendly. It's like a very friendly guy. Let's see, I met Arnold Schwarzenegger at one of the when he was actually in the governor's office. I don't think he'd been governor for a very long, couple of years or something, and he was at he had helped sponsor, backed a proposition. I don't really remember the proposition, but I want to say it was like Prop 11 or something like that. And anyway, there was some small party. It was like an election night party. Actually, I know exactly when it was. It was actually when Obama was elected president the first time, and it was that night. And we were at this function, and it was like usually only like the top tier level people got invited to it. But my friend Regina Rosalio, she knew a lot of these people. She had met him and talked to him in the past and everything. But anyway, she invited me because I was running at the time. I was running for city controller, and I think I was running for city controller. So she had invited me. I'd gotten to know her. Rest in peace, Regina. It's like we miss you. It's like she passed away about a year ago. And so she invited me to this thing, and there was not a lot of people there because it was like a limited amount. It's like maybe 100 people of like the top tier people in politics and so on, and maybe a few celebrities and so fundraisers and so on. But he came in. He wasn't there right away, but he did come in and he spoke to the audience, and I think his proposition passed. And so I got, and afterwards I got to meet him, and I shook his hand and everything. He was impressive. He was very impressive. His presence, and I think his personality. He had like this just giant, it's like I know he's a big guy and everything, but he had this extraordinary like Superman aura about him. There was something really special about him, and I didn't get to really talk to him, but I, introduced myself and stuff to him, so I got to meet him, and that was an interesting party. So I got to meet him, and then let's see, Ray Bradbury. I met him way back many years ago. I think it was in the 1980s. Interesting guy. He was at a science fiction, but in the early days of like science fiction conventions and stuff, it was like a much smaller deal. It's not like big like it was before, and I think it was like science fiction, horror, and fantasy was the conventions, and this was probably I want to say it was like early 80s. I went to these things, and like I said, it's like I know sometimes we were held at a hotel at the airport, the LAX airport near there. And I know originally, I think they were in Pershing Square. They had them in Pershing Square too. And I went to probably several of them. And I know one of the ones, it's like, I don't know what year it came out, but Indiana Jones, the movies when it first started, it's like I know that it just become popular to come out. And because there was a guy dressed as Indiana Jones. And anyway, one of the ones I went to, and I think it was one that was at Pershing Square, Ray Bradbury had been invited, and he was a speaker and stuff. We happened to catch him as he first got there. Me and my friend, I think it was with Vera, and I specifically brought a book. You know, I bought that the movie came out. There was a movie about one of his books. Something Wicked This Way Comes. It's like it's trying to remember. So when the movie came out, that was the year. It was like the year that I was there, and so he signed the book. Unfortunately, I don't know what happened to the book, but I did get to meet him. He had a nice, quiet presence about him. He was an interesting character, and it's like that was one really great story, and really great. Like really glad I used to go to those when people were. It's like back in the early days of the science fiction, horror, and fantasy stuff. Then I got to meet George Hamilton. George Hamilton, I met him in Palm Springs. I was in Palm Springs. He was with his wife, and he was, there were, I think, a couple other people. They were driving a car. This was many years ago. I want to say it was like 1980s, probably sometime in the 1980s, and he was with. It's like, and I was with, probably one or two other people. I don't know, it was my sister or who. I think it was probably my sister because my family was there. And we saw him, and it's like, oh my God, it's George Hamilton, it's like, and he had this wonderful tan. He always had this wonderful tan, good-looking guy, and I think you could tell, even though he was kind of embroiled with targets, he could tell that we wanted to meet him and stuff. But so he kind of came out and like out of the car, away from the car, and he was looking in the window of a store or something. It's like giving us like an invitation to talk to him, but we were too shy to go up to him, which was really stupid. We should have gone up to him and started talking to him. But this was in Palm Springs, and that was another good memory of meeting a celebrity. And I wish we had actually talked to him, had the guts to talk to him.